it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing.
This statement comes directly from the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, sharing his perspective on one of the most contentious diss tracks created by Eminem, in which Eminem attempted to ridicule MJ in a music video which can be seen here.
That's not a stab at Michael, that's just a metaphor. I'm just psycho, I go a little bit crazy sometimes.
Eminem didn't just incorporate Michael Jackson into his lyrics, he also directed the entire music video with a clear focus on Michael, which deeply hurt the king of pop.
I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist.
However, it appears hurting Michael cost him a whopping $500 million. Now, to understand why Michael Jackson felt compelled to use strong language in response to Eminem and what actually made him pay $500 million, let's delve into the origins of their conflict.
Nobody's gonna know who'd hear it. Give a little poot poot, it's okay.
It's widely recognized in the music industry that engaging in a feud with Eminem often leads to unfavorable outcomes for the other party involved, especially during the mid-2000s. Slim Shady was a dominant force in the industry, unafraid to take on almost anyone. However, there's always someone even more influential. And in 2007, Michael Jackson demonstrated that he was that formidable figure.
I've been an artist most of my life doing what I do, and I've never attacked another fellow artist.
In 2004, Eminem unveiled the music video for his track Just Lose It, the lead single from his album Encore. The song, accompanied by a vibrant and provocative music video, featured Eminem openly mocking various aspects of Michael Jackson's life. This included references to Jackson's changing appearance, the legal issues he faced the previous year, and a traumatic accident that had led to the singer's hospitalization. In the song's lyrics, Eminem raps, "What else could I possibly do to make noise? I done touched on everything but little boys. And that's not a stab at Michael, that's just a metaphor. I'm just psycho." During the Just Lose It music video, Eminem went to great lengths to mock Michael Jackson. He dressed up as Jackson and incorporated various symbolic elements into the video. This included a scene where his nose falls off, alluding to Jackson's plastic surgery on his nose, his hair catching fire, a reference to Jackson's real-life hair accident during a Pepsi commercial shoot in 1984, and children jumping on his bed, which alluded to the controversial allegations surrounding Jackson and his association with children.
Just lose it.
The song and video were undeniably successful at the time, but it's understandable that Michael Jackson took offense to the portrayal. In response, the Jackson estate issued threats of legal action against Eminem for the public insult and made considerable efforts to have the video banned from popular music channels. However, speaking in an interview with a Los Angeles radio station, Jackson stated, "I've admired Eminem as an artist and was shocked by this. The video was inappropriate and disrespectful to me, my children, my family, and the community at large." When Eminem was asked about the Just Lose It music video and how it had upset Michael Jackson, he responded with a succinct statement, "I apologize for that. We've all heard stories of people making a less than stellar first impression with an employer, but this particular situation really takes the cake."
The personal things, that was not planned. It was making no personal judgment from Michael Jackson. It was not.
But what motivated him to take such a bold step and mock a legendary figure, risking potential backlash and cancellation? Eminem must have had his reasons. It appears that the sequence of events may have originated on November 19, 2002, when Michael Jackson caused controversy by dangling his 9-month-old son, Prince, over a balcony. In response to the backlash, Jackson explained that he had held his son securely during the incident and that his intention was to show appreciation to his fans.
He was protecting his identity while endangering his life.
Months later, on June 24, 2003, Eminem was on his world tour, known as the Anger Management Tour, which brought him to Glasgow, Scotland. During his stay there, fans gathered around his hotel. In a tongue-in-cheek response to Michael Jackson's controversial balcony incident, Eminem decided to playfully mimic Jackson's actions. He grabbed a fake baby, wore a Michael Jackson mask, and humorously imitated the incident, making fun of Jackson in the process. Michael Jackson's lack of response to Eminem's earlier antics seemingly prompted Eminem to escalate things further. On November 19, 2003, Eminem saw an opportunity to do just that. Michael Jackson once again found himself in a controversial situation, with an official arrest warrant issued for his alleged inappropriate behavior with children.
It was the most humiliating ordeal of my life, but if this is what I have to endure to prove my innocence, so be it.
As Michael Jackson faced the grave allegations and turned himself in just weeks later, his legal situation reached a critical point. He was grappling with serious allegations, experiencing a low point in his life. Meanwhile, Eminem was actively working on his 5th studio album Encore during those months. On September 28, 2004, Eminem released the album's first single, Just Lose It. This timing suggests that Eminem's music release was intertwined with the ongoing controversy surrounding Michael Jackson's legal battles.
Yeah, that wasn't intentional, but I'm just happy that Michael Jackson has heard of me.
Then on October 3, 2004, Eminem released the official music video for Just Lose It, and it was at this point that the public feud between Eminem and Michael Jackson officially began.
Down, 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 down.
The concept for the Just Lose It music video involved Eminem portraying parodies of various celebrities including MC Hammer, Pee Wee Herman, Madonna, Eminem himself in his role from the movie 8 Mile, and notably Michael Jackson. The video humorously caricatured these celebrities, with Eminem's impersonation of Jackson being a central element that contributed to the controversy surrounding the video.
Basically, our day here today is going to be mostly staged, where we're going to have M and his multi-characters. So starting out with him as Pee Wee Herman, and then we jump into him as MC Hammer.
While Eminem portrayed parodies of several celebrities in the Just Lose It music video, Michael Jackson received the harshest treatment. Eminem's mocking of Jackson was particularly severe, touching on various aspects of Jackson's life and controversies. The video went so far as to address the sensitive topic of Jackson's alleged suspicious activities with children, making it a focal point of the parody. In addition to the visuals, the actual lyrics of the song contained derogatory references to Jackson.
Come here, little kitties, on my lap. Guess who's back with a brand new rap? And I don't mean rap as in a new cake.
Around a week later, on October 12, 2004, Michael Jackson made a phone call to Steve Harvey's morning show in Los Angeles. During the interview, Michael Jackson stated, "I am very angry at Eminem's depiction of me in his video. I feel that it is outrageous and disrespectful. It is one thing to spoof, but it is another to be demeaning and insensitive. I've admired Eminem as an artist and was shocked by this. The video was inappropriate and disrespectful to me, my children, my family, and the community at large." During the interview, Steve Harvey humorously noted that he had been revoked from having a hip-hop past due to his involvement in the conversation. Additionally, Michael Jackson requested that video channels such as VH1, MTV, and BET remove the Just Lose It music video. At that time, the only network that complied with this request was BET, which decided to withdraw the video from its rotation in response to Jackson's concerns.
Every video just gets worse and worse. Then finally we'll end up with him as Michael Jackson.
The day after the interview, Michael Jackson announced his intention to sue Eminem over the Just Lose It music video. However, as time passed, Jackson did not follow through with the lawsuit. Instead, what followed was a strong reaction from Michael Jackson's fans, who protested to have the Just Lose It music video removed from every major video platform, including MTV, VH1, Music Choice, and many others.
Michael Jackson rally as fans of the King of Pop protest Eminem's new video that pokes fun at Michael Jackson in a very personal way.
On November 11, 2004, Michael Jackson's fans organized a protest outside Times Square in front of MTV's Total Request Live (TRL) show. They were demanding the removal of Eminem's Just Lose It music video from the MTV platform. It's worth noting that this protest occurred just one day before Eminem officially released his 5th studio album Encore. Upon learning of the protest organized by his fans outside Times Square, Michael Jackson took the opportunity to call in and express his appreciation for their support. He said,
Well, Geraldo, it's because of my fans that I'm calling you today. I mean, I feel they're the best fans in the world, and I decided rather than have anyone else speak for me, that I would do it myself.
The protests organized by Michael Jackson's fans ultimately did not lead to the removal of Eminem's Just Lose It music video from platforms like MTV and BET. Eminem's team responded by arguing that removing the video would be a violation of freedom of speech. Additionally, they compared the content of Just Lose It to other videos such as Nelly's Tip Drill to make the case that it was not demeaning towards anyone and therefore should be allowed to air on these platforms.
That's the kind of cool side of it.
The fact that he's heard of me is you know, that does me enough. But like the personal things, you know, that was not planned.
After the release of Encore, Eminem participated in various interviews where he was questioned about his decision to target Michael Jackson in the Just Lose It music video.
I was definitely surprised at Michael Jackson's reaction. The video wasn't to pass judgment on anything. You know, he may have felt like he got it the worst because of what he's going through or whatever, but...
Several weeks after Eminem had been addressing Michael Jackson in his interviews, Stevie Wonder stepped in to defend Michael Jackson during his own Billboard interview on December 6, 2004. In the interview, Stevie Wonder expressed his disappointment with Eminem's actions and statements regarding Michael Jackson, indicating that he was disheartened by Eminem's approach towards the iconic pop star. He said, "Kicking someone when he's down is not a good thing. I have much respect for his work, though I don't think he's as good as Tupac, but I was disappointed that he would let himself go to such a level. He has succeeded on the backs of people predominantly in that lower pay bracket, so for him to come out like that is A couple of months later, on January 20th, 2005, Michael Jackson finally responded comprehensively to Eminem during a sit-down interview with Geraldo Rivera on Fox News. This interview marked Jackson's direct and public response to the controversy surrounding Eminem's parodies and comments about him.
It's a criminology in mankind that I don't like, that part of it, that kind of, you know, envy.
Following Michael Jackson's interview with Geraldo Rivera, direct exchanges between Michael Jackson and Eminem ceased. Eminem occasionally made subliminal remarks about Michael Jackson in interviews throughout 2005, but there were no further direct confrontations or significant developments in their public interactions beyond that point. As time passed, both Michael Jackson and Eminem refrained from making any public comments about each other. Eminem faced personal challenges, including the loss of his best friend Proof, and struggles with substance addiction. Meanwhile, Michael Jackson was focused on expanding his business ventures. On May 31st, 2007, Michael Jackson seemed to get his own form of payback towards Eminem when his company, Sony ATV, purchased the publishing company Famous Music for a substantial sum of $370 million.
Michael's like, yeah, you ever thought of selling your publishing? He goes, oh, I thought about it. You know, I wanted whatever, 30 million. He goes, okay.
Indeed, Famous Music owned a portion of Eminem's back catalog, including some of his most significant hits. This acquisition also encompassed the publishing rights of other artists such as Shakira and Beck, whose catalogs were part of the sale by Viacom, of which Famous Music was a subsidiary. This strategic move allowed Michael Jackson to exert influence over a diverse array of musical catalogs.
Oh, he wanted to own all the publishing on the album you guys are working on.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, and I was like, let's talk about it.
Under the terms of the deal, Sony ATV secured the rights to a vast catalog of over 125,000 songs, with Eminem's catalog standing out as one of the most high-profile and lucrative assets within that portfolio. This acquisition solidified Sony ATV's control over a substantial and diverse range of musical compositions. Speaking about acquisition, Sony ATV CEO Martin N. Bandier said, "The Famous Music catalog is a world-class asset filled with evergreen songs that people know and love. The depth and breadth of the catalog is what truly makes it great. It's essential to clarify that the prevalent misconception in this story is that Michael Jackson owned Eminem's entire music back catalog, which is not accurate. Instead, Jackson's ownership was limited to a few hits and select songs, including notable tracks like Without Me and The Real Slim Shady."
Wait, you're kidding. He didn't just say what I think he did he? And Dr. Dre said...
In 2009, both Eminem and Michael Jackson were gearing up for their respective comebacks. Eminem successfully made his return with the release of his album Relapse, marking a significant comeback for the rapper.
Relapse was the first album and first recordings that I had did, you know, where the lights came on.
Michael Jackson's comeback was centered around planning concert shows at the O2 Arena in London, which he intended to call This Is It. However, on June 25, 2009, tragedy struck as Michael Jackson passed away at the age of 50.
Michael Jackson suffered cardiac arrest this afternoon. He was rushed to UCLA Medical Center.
In December 2009, Eminem was featured on the cover of Complex magazine and participated in an interview. During this interview, he briefly discussed Michael Jackson and his untimely passing, reflecting on the impact of the King of Pop's death. The interviewer asked about MJ's death, and he said, "When you read things about Michael Jackson, it's hard to decipher what the is true. But there's the story of how he woke up at whatever time and he needed something to go back to sleep because he had this or that and it didn't work. That's exactly what used to happen to me. I would take a couple of pills and I would be up an hour later and I'd want more. Then I'd take more and that would be enough to maybe get me back to sleep for 2 more hours. Then I'd be wide awake again. So I definitely can relate, and it's a shame if he didn't have anybody there to just say, 'Michael, you're an addict. You need help.'" Years later, on March 15, 2016, Sony acquired Michael Jackson's music catalog rights for Sony ATV, which Jackson had owned a 50% stake in for a staggering $750 million. This acquisition meant that Sony now held sole ownership of the music publishing catalog, including the works of iconic musicians like the Beatles, Bob Dylan, and other hit-making artists, among them Eminem and Taylor Swift. The deal represented yet another posthumous blockbuster agreement for Michael Jackson. His estate had managed to eliminate the singer's substantial debts through a combination of new music and movie ventures, as well as the re-releases of his most popular music. The benefits of Jackson's estate were directed towards his mother and 3 children, ensuring their financial stability and securing his legacy even after his passing. Rob Stringer, Chief Executive Officer, Sony Music Entertainment, commented, "Michael Jackson was an unsurpassed genius and an iconic force in music entertainment. The music and videos he made as an artist as part of the Sony Music family are essential to pop culture history. We're proud to be part of that history and to find new innovative ways to make Michael's music available to future generations of fans." Following the previous deal, Sony Corp once again reached an agreement to acquire the Michael Jackson estate's 50% interest in Sony ATV, granting Sony complete control of the music publishing company. According to the announcement, Sony entered into a memorandum of understanding to purchase the Jackson estate's 50% stake in the publishing company.
Because, you know, they went on not to promote. Like, Michael had a vision, like I was part of it. I remember him saying, "We're gonna come out with this first."
The deal was valued at $750 million and marked the culmination of a joint venture between Sony and Michael Jackson that had spanned 21 years. A definitive agreement was expected to be finalized by March 31st, with the deal closure anticipated to occur in late 2016 or early 2017. The transaction was subject to specific closing conditions and regulatory approval.
Michael is known for the visuals.
Oh yeah,
he made MTV.
Exactly.
Thriller was an actual film.
Yeah.
No one had done that before.
Yeah.
At that time.
Upon the completion of the deal, the Jackson estate retained its 10% interest in EMI Music Publishing. Additionally, they continued to have ownership of MyJack Music, the publishing company responsible for Michael Jackson's own compositions and songs written by other artists, as well as retaining control over Jackson's master recordings. Michael Jackson acquired the ATV portion of the catalog in 1985 for $41.5 million, and later he merged it with Sony, forming the Sony ATV Music Publishing venture. This catalog remained one of his most profitable assets at the time of his untimely death in June 2009 at the age of 50. Despite the immense success of his career, Jackson faced significant financial challenges, and by that point he was in debt amounting to hundreds of millions of dollars.
Because whatever business wasn't right at the time.
That's why.
Oh yeah, it got halted for sure. So you're talking about
With Michael Jackson, you're gonna halt it?
Yeah.
Sony's acquisition of the remaining 50% interest in Sony ATV marked the conclusion of what had been described as a complicated ownership structure. This acquisition granted Sony complete control of the publishing operation, consolidating its position in the marketplace. In addition to Sony ATV, Sony already owned 29% of EMI Music Publishing and served as its administrator. Under the leadership of Martin Bandier, who had recently signed a 3-year contract, the publishing company achieved remarkable success, generating over $1.2 billion in revenue between Sony ATV and EMI Music Publishing.
Sony is splashing out €2 billion to buy a controlling stake in the music publisher EMI. The deal will take advantage of the rapid growth in streaming services,
Netizens kept their eyes on this long-running beef. One of the internet users wrote, "People overlook the fact that Michael Jackson was a great businessman. He owned half of Sony and possessed various catalogs including the Beatles. He was a literal genius." Another wrote, "Eminem is only envious with MJ. They can't compare what MJ had achieved. His fame is all over the world. Nice, sweet, kind-hearted person and very humble, who always has respect for other people." Indeed, Michael Jackson's initial investment of $41.5 million in the ATV catalog turned out to be a highly lucrative venture, ultimately returning a substantial profit of $750 million through the acquisition of various artist catalogs. Jackson's enduring legacy and his shrewd business moves solidified his position as a music industry giant even after his passing, and Eminem did not know this was coming his way.